Hello, and welcome to another marketing strategy video series with Agile Education Marketing. Today we are excited to have our very own Kassidy Krown leading the discussion about connecting with educators through social and digital marketing. Welcome, Kassidy, and thank you so much for being here. Before we get started today, could you tell us a little bit about your background and specifically what brought you to the work you do in education?
My name is Kassidy Krown, and I'm the Digital Advertising Manager for Agile Education Marketing. I have been with Agile since last year. I actually come from a background of nonprofit and public library marketing and public relations. And in my 8-10 years experience, I have worked exclusively with community-based organizations and education organizations, including libraries, which was kind of a perfect fit when I found Agile because it brings together my love for marketing with the balance that comes with education and libraries and our data. And I get to work with our clients to bridge that gap between them and connecting their resources and services to educators across the country.
Why do organizations need to incorporate social and digital marketing into their business strategy? And why is social and digital marketing such a critical component of a business's marketing strategy?
Social and digital marketing is so crucial to a business's strategy of how they choose to advertise or choose to market, how they want to engage with individuals, because it truly is a new frontier, a new avenue that 10 years ago probably didn't exist, or definitely did not exist in the way it does now. Individuals are much more reliant on technology and on our devices, and with that comes a reliance or an opportunity for businesses to connect with individuals where they are, which in this case happens to be on their devices. So social marketing really refers to the different platforms individuals are on. That's connecting with Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, even TikTok are all social channels that can be utilized for your marketing strategy. And then you think about digital marketing, it really brings in those social avenues, but it also brings in browser or search engine based types of opportunities to engage. So whether it's Google or Bing, even digital includes email marketing, which really allows you to interact with people in new techniques, new avenues that maybe we didn't traditionally do in marketing. It also allows you to get in front of people quite a bit more and raise brand awareness for your organization, create opportunities for lead generation or sales, but ultimately it helps you reach people where they are. And that's the crux of marketing. And that's the crux of what we do at Agile is we connect our organizations or our clients with educators. And we do this in an omni-channel approach. And we really I encourage businesses to incorporate an omni-channel approach in their business strategy across social and digital platforms, because it provides an opportunity for you to have multiple touch points across several channels, which ultimately increases your engagement with potential customers, clients, educators, if you're in our field.
What goes into developing an impactful digital marketing and advertising approach and strategy?
There are several steps that you should take when creating an impactful social or digital advertising or digital marketing strategy and a plan. And part of that truly is in the basis of having a plan. So your very first step before you even sign up for a platform or create an ads account or identify what channels you want to engage individuals on, you really need to know your audience. And that is the crux of what you base all of your marketing strategy on. So with that, you really need to assess who you're trying to reach, how you're trying to reach them, and why you're trying to reach them. And go back to those 3 questions, the what, how, why, of who and how you're going to engage with them. You take that information on who your audience is, those audience segments, those custom audiences that you're trying to engage with, and you identify which platforms or avenues for marketing channels that you're most likely to engage with those individuals on. If you're trying to reach top CEOs or superintendents of districts, and your advertising is maybe on Pinterest, maybe not the best combination, but there are channels based on what you're trying to market and who you're trying to market to that really are a beautiful balance and create the highest engagement for you. So first step is really identifying your audience. From there, you identify the platforms. And then once you have that in mind, you really create a content library, a copy library that you have several different ads or marketing strategies, tactics, assets that you can engage and start campaigns with. So having a content library is really your next step. And with that, it means having different advertisement, creative copy in various formats, different sizes, different file types, different visual components to really build your campaign from. With that, you also take into account those different audience segments that we mentioned. So you can have audiences that are geared towards different age groups, when I say age groups, I mean different levels of which individuals are educating. So whether it's your early childhood centers or your high school or even higher ed, really making sure that those you are ultimately trying to reach, your creative and copy are in line with that. The worst or one of the most challenging things or detrimental things you can do to your campaign is to not make sure that your creative and your copy align with who you're trying to reach. If you're trying to reach a high school educator, maybe incorporating younger children into the advertisement isn't necessarily best. So working with that in mind and building that library. And then the next step is really executing. So you build your campaign and you launch it, and then you analyze, and optimize. So don't be afraid if you start a campaign and it doesn't perform as you would hope initially. You can make revisions to it. The whole point of marketing is it's continually evolving, it's continually learning. We're humans, human behavior is often unpredictable, but having an informed marketing strategy and informed campaigns make sure that you can engage with individuals and potentially predict human behavior a little bit. So that's really the crux of how you go about building your campaign. And if something's not working, don't worry about it. You just make a small revision or you change direction, but really striving to be aware of how your campaigns are performing is the most important part.
Tell us about essential considerations businesses should take into account when determining which social and digital platforms to utilize in their digital strategy.
When identifying which platforms to use in your digital marketing strategy, it really goes back to who your audience is and who you want your audience to be, because who your audience currently is could evolve over time. And with that becomes the fluidity or the flexibility that comes with digital marketing. It's okay to change as you go, but being aware of who you're trying to interact with, making sure that once you have your audience identified, that they are on that platform. They are who is utilizing that channel, and they're also utilizing that channel for the reason that you're wanting them to utilize it. Facebook is great for brand awareness. It's not always best for lead generation, especially for rather than a consumer or a lower entry point. If you're looking for a district-wide adoption, maybe Facebook isn't the best channel to only utilize. It's great to do in combination with another marketing channel, So using that omni-channel approach, using Facebook as more of that general brand awareness or how you support educators with your product, and then utilizing another channel as truly just your only lead generation focus on there. However, the importance of having a holistic digital marketing approach is having that multi-pronged approach. Yes, you want ultimately to create conversions, generate leads, whatever it may be, but your goal is also to demonstrate that you are a resource to educators and you will benefit them by what you are offering. So that's really important, to ultimately know your audience and be aware of what platforms they're on and where they're most likely to engage.
What are some examples of organizations doing social and digital marketing right?
There are several tactics or strategies that our clients and other organizations do that really perform well and increase their performance across the social and digital advertising channels. And there are several components that can be broken down into different areas. So your first one is going back to that audience, making sure that the message and the creative are fit for the platform that you're on. And if you're on LinkedIn, oftentimes your copy or creative for your advertising is going to be more business centric. On Facebook, it could be more personable. But one thing that goes over great with educators time after time is testimonials or proof of relationships with their peers, demonstrating that their peers, other educators, are utilizing what you're trying to market and how they're doing it, and providing resources of how they can learn more. So really having a face that is representative of who you're trying to engage with, or demonstrating your product or offering in real time, in real life, demonstrating it in classrooms, whatever it may be, that they can then see themselves as well as their students in what you're offering and how it can be beneficial to them in their schools, in their districts. The next kind of avenue that can be taken, or next perspective that should be really focused on, is your creative and copy. And when I say creative, I'm talking about your visual elements. When I'm talking about copy, I'm talking about the text that you type that accompanies that. So anything bright or engaging is typically going to perform well with educators. The more business focused, yes, may appeal to those more district or admin level positions. However, sometimes it doesn't necessarily stand out visually in the news feeds or in the direct messaging that you may be utilizing for your campaign. So really making sure that you get 3 to 5 seconds from the time someone sees your advertisement to the time they abandon it. 3 to 5 seconds is a very short period of time. You want to make sure that in those initial 3 to 5 seconds, whether it's a static ad or a video, you are engaging individuals. You're providing that hook, that call to action, whatever you're trying to hopefully engage them with. You want to make sure it's immediate, it's easy to read, it's not text heavy if it's an individual image, and the image itself is representative of what you're trying to promote or what you're trying to market. And then when we talk about copy, we really want to think about what we are putting in there and how we say it. So if your organization has a certain style guide or brand guidelines of how you use certain words or how you speak, if you are creating messaging and you want to be personable, use the words we, you, are. It builds that relationship rather than the organization name and making it very factual. Yes, you want to provide validity of what you are marketing, but there also needs to be a relationship building. And that's what social and digital channels and avenues truly are. It's a relationship building platform for you to utilize and hopefully in the end reach your goals. So really making sure your copy is the tone and warmth or professionalism that you're trying to come across. Another component of copy is if you're doing a Google campaign and you are directing to a landing page, all of the wording, all the terminology you're using is cohesive and consistent. So if you're using certain keywords that are then incorporated into the actual copy of your website and they perform well, use those top performing keywords and incorporate it into the copy of your advertisement, regardless of platform it's on. That demonstrates taking those keywords that people are engaging with and putting it in the copy. You know they're already subconsciously will be triggered mentally that they're more likely to engage with it. They're looking for that. So if they're scrolling through and they see a bunch of white words that we all see on our news feeds, but then they happen to see a word that, oh, they've just been looking for, they're more likely to engage with it. And that's where the benefit comes from. There are also the opportunities to utilize hashtags or emojis, whatever best fits that platform. But when you can make your advertisement more visually engaging, it makes it stand out on the continuous feed of white space or words that we all see when we look at our different apps. So that's really important. But also making sure on your advertisement that you have your copy, you have your creative, and then there's oftentimes a section of a button that says learn more and having headlines there, making sure whatever that call to action section is lines up with your advertising image as well as your copy. It's all cohesive throughout. And then ultimately making sure it's appropriate for the different campaigns you're doing. So if you're doing a Facebook campaign and you're doing a static ad, the image size for that particular ad may look great in a feed, but may not be the appropriate ratio for a story or a display network. So keeping consistent design across the different avenues that your ads may be shown, but making them fit visually within those is great for cohesiveness. It also increases the number of people or the number of eyes you're going to get on your ads, which ultimately helps you reach your goals in the end. More people, more conversions.
How do you decide what type of creative should be used when setting up digital and social campaigns?
Different ad types provide different benefits. And I say that because the different products or services that you're trying to market may not be best suited for every type of ad type. When I say ad type, I'm talking about if it's a single image ad, if it's a multi-image carousel, if we're talking about a GIF or a video that we upload. It really, everything you do should be very strategic. If you're going to upload a video, make sure first off that video is no more than a minute max, unless it's truly like a long form video, a demo, whatever it may be. But the intention of using long form video should be very, very specific and should be used very seldom. With looking at other formats, there's really a purpose as to why you do what different ad types. So if you're doing a single image ad, that image must stand alone. It needs to have elements that are visually going to engage someone. So if you're promoting a professional development resource and you're marketing it to educators, really making sure A, you have educators on there, but B, you could potentially have their students. Rather than utilizing a particular more technology-based, giving educators the opportunity to see themselves and see their peers utilizing that platform is great for engaging in a single image ad. If you're talking about a carousel and you're a publisher who is trying to promote multiple books, utilizing a carousel will allow you to portray each of the different avenues or a couple of the different books that you're trying to promote, but it can also provide multiple areas for calls to action. So you can provide different links to each of those areas. If you're promoting an elementary school curriculum book, for one of them, that would be the call to action, that button that they can actually click on. If you're doing a professional development for high school counselors, that could be another one in that carousel, while making them, the actual images, visually cohesive, so similar look and feel, but promoting different resources is an opportunity that you could utilize if you're hoping to engage on multiple fronts. If you are talking about professional development and you would like to demonstrate what it looks like for your organization to come in and do professional development in school districts, having a short clip of showing your actual team in a setting that you are engaging with educators, even if it's a very, very short clip as an overview, it demonstrates, hey, this is work you currently do, and this is a real life example of how we've done it. It doesn't have to be long form of a whole day long webinar, but showing real life examples is the key to engaging individuals, because we're all human. We all want relationships with other individuals, and especially in education, it really is based on the bettering education. At the crux of it is bettering individuals' lives. So demonstrating how lives are impacted is always great when it comes to videos. Another avenue is a demo. If you're using a technology or a learning management system, and you're promoting a new app or a new area on your dashboard, having a quick demo of promoting that new resource is another avenue to utilize video. But ultimately, it goes back to what you're trying to promote. It also goes back to your budget. So sometimes some video ads can be more expensive. Now, when you work with Agile, it doesn't necessarily matter what type of ad format we're looking at, because we have one consistent price across the board. But with that comes the ability to maximize the different campaigns you do and engage on different avenues or different channels with different ad types. And one ad doesn't fit all, just like one shoe doesn't fit all. So really making sure that what you have and what your resources allow are best suited for the campaign, because there is that resource internally that, whether you're providing creative or copy or we're doing it for you, it really depends on what the ad is and what our resource allows.
How do you go about recommending solutions for digital and social advertising clients?
So I know I've harped a little bit on audiences and the importance of them, but it really is what your campaign is built on. It's what your marketing strategy is built on. And there are several resources across the different platforms that you can utilize for social and digital advertising that help you build audiences, whether it's using a lookalike or a similar audience in Google, lookalike in Facebook. They give you avenues to identify individuals based on demographics, age, gender, interests, job titles, whatever it may be. And while those are oftentimes helpful in narrowing your audience, they are also a bit challenging, because I could say I'm interested in education, but I am not an educator. I could indicate I was interested in libraries. Previously, I'm actually a master's degree librarian. I do not work as a librarian. I have not been in the library space for a bit, but I may still populate as an individual who is in the library sector because of that. So you're serving impressions, you're spending ad dollars on audiences and individuals within those audiences that may not actually be your target audience. And when you work with an organization like Agile, that's really where we provide an added benefit. When we do campaigns for our clients, we use our data. These are individuals that are specifically confirmed educators. We have an entire data team who's working constantly round the clock, 365 days a year, to make sure that the data we have is the most up to date, but is also the most accurate. So you are not potentially serving ads to someone who is an educator, or as one of my colleagues says, Tim, the yoga teacher, is not an actual teacher in K-12. So you don't run that risk of potentially spending your hard-earned marketing dollars on individuals who may not be your actual target audience. Whereas when you work with someone like Agile, we build those custom audiences for you. These individuals are confirmed educators in the space that you're trying to market, whether it's the early childhood, elementary, junior high, middle, high school, higher ed, public libraries, all levels, from your superintendents of your districts down to your classroom educators, and even non-education specific titles too, that have staff that work in school systems, whether it's your IT, your cafeteria, your janitorial services, anything like that. But we know those are individuals who are in those schools and who are specifically trying to reach, which is where the benefit is, because then we take that specific confirmed data that we have worked with you to build your audience segments on, and we upload those as custom lists into the platforms. So when we serve ads for our clients, we are only serving to educators that they are trying to reach, or individuals they are trying to reach. Whereas it takes out the ambiguity that can come from using similar audiences or lookalike audiences, identifying individuals by geographic location or potential industry interests, personal interests, anything like that. It really takes that guesswork out of who you're trying to reach. It does narrow your audience, but your actual conversion, your engagement, your clicks, your lead generation increases because you're reaching who you're wanting to, rather than hoping you potentially are reaching them.
What are some best practices for planning and executing a successful social and digital campaign strategy?
So best practices for executing your digital and social marketing strategy are to have a plan. Making sure that you try to answer any questions you have up front, but you also are okay with learning throughout the process. You never know what one day, 1 hour may bring to your advertising campaign and its performance, but also being willing to learn as your campaign is going. So you're learning more about your audience, you're learning about when they engage, what they engage with, if they prefer one advertisement over another, really being observant and then implementing what you've learned. So if one is performing better than the other, or one's not performing at the rate that you would like it to, you pause it, you create new creative, you implement different copy, you do A/B testing, you revise your audiences, you revise your campaigns. Being willing to pivot is really key when it comes to digital and social marketing. And that's really the biggest best practice, or the biggest helpful tip I could provide, is just being willing to learn as you go and being okay with a bit of uncertainty. We all want it to perform well, but we also need to be respectful and cognizant of, we are connecting with individuals, we're connecting with people, and what they are going through on their everyday life impacts what they choose to engage with and how they choose to engage with it. So making sure you plan, you know as much as you can, whether that's your audience, you have that content library or a content arsenal of copy and creative, and then being willing to learn and grow with your campaign as it goes over time will only help to serve your campaign and your goals in reaching them.
Thank you to Kassidy Krown for leading such an interesting discussion, and thank you to our audience for watching. We hope you'll join us for our next Educator Perspective video coming soon.